London is feeling a lot more hostile than usual at the moment. I don't know how it is over there, but like everybody's like in their houses, like with their hoarded supplies, watching fucking MasterChef on Netflix right now, and like no one wants to go anywhere public. And if anyone coughs, everyone like runs away or looks at them suspiciously.
The stores have like a really weird energy right now over here. Like when I went in the store that I usually go into, there was like no fucking spaghetti sauce. Like, what the fuck do you need spaghetti sauce for? What are you hoarding spaghetti sauce for? I was so mad when I saw that. And like everyone was buying way too much of one thing and loading up on stuff. People were wearing face masks, which I really wanted to get a face mask, but they were all sold out. So I got one from Amazon that has like teeth on it.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna wear it for my video. But anyway,
The face masks, just for all of your information, do nothing to help you.
Yeah.
Just
The face masks are actually mainly for if you're already sick, so that like you're not coughing.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't actually prevent you from getting sick. Only like hand washing and stuff like that.
They're actually
does that.
worse for you because you're constantly keeping all the particles that you're walking around by your face and breathing in around your face. So if you were around at any time, it's already clung to your silly face mask that you've got to try and protect yourself in these over-panicked, like paranoid times. You absolute mug.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though. I don't know how much of a fucking fuss we need to like, because I'm not sure how serious it is. But from the looks of it, like they are closing down schools and businesses, which makes me feel like more, I guess, apprehensive about like going outside.
It's real.
Yeah. And like apparently it's gonna get worse. But the kind of funniest thing out of this whole thing is that Gen Z are calling it the boomer remover instead of coronavirus. Boomer remover was trending on Twitter yesterday. And I mean, this whole intergenerational war thing is kind of silly. But at the same time, Bolsonaro, the president of Brazil, has been diagnosed with coronavirus. And then I think it was like 2 of Boris Johnson's staff also had the virus as well.
I think it was even a Labour MP that went to go and have a meeting with him and then ended up having coronavirus.
Biological warfare. It's cross-party.
Oh, you know what? What's really funny is Ted Cruz. He was in the presence of someone who had coronavirus, so he went into like a self-isolation thing for 14 days. And then literally on his first day out of his self-isolation, he shook hands with another person who was diagnosed with coronavirus and has to go right back into self-isolation.
This is great. That's the thing, it's kind of great. It's like a biblical plague situation going on, the 7 plagues of Egypt. Because there's also a massive swarm of locusts at the moment that are making their way around the world because of global warming and the temperature. They're like breeding more. So it started in East Africa and it's like moving across the Arabian Peninsula across into Asia at the moment. So we have locusts down. We have a fucking pestilence down. It's only a matter of time before the firstborn start to perish. You know.
No, don't worry. I'm willing to do the lamb's blood thing.
You're willing to do that. I am too. Literally, because I'm so paranoid and I have OCD and all of this shit. I've been like getting medieval on it and like burning incense to rid the air of foul humors and like drawing sigils on doors and shit. Like I'm fucking seriously prepared for this like pestilence. But really and truly, the political impact that it's having is what I find the most kind of interesting. The stock market has taken a massive nosedive. A lot of different industries are now suffering because of it. The healthcare systems, even in countries that have universal healthcare, like ours, the UK, for instance, are suffering, mainly because of all of the cuts and privatizing that are going on right now. And it's also sort of undermined the right-wing version of the Brexit ethos, because the whole idea of us being this sovereign island is now kind of a shit show because we need international collaboration in order to solve this issue.
We don't. That's not true.
So one of the things that I'm interested to see is if this virus situation will cause people to question the system. if it's going to undermine basic, assumptions that people have about capitalism, and if it's going to inspire international like collaboration, or are we just all going to turn into doomers and start prepping for the end of the world?
Well, I don't know how real they were, but I definitely saw several like tweets quoted and then shared around, but they're all literally like, oh, well, I can't even afford to stay at home because my job isn't covered if I have sick leave. So I need to go to work today, and I've got 2 jobs, and my main job is to basically greet people as they come through the doors of this hotel. So you've already spread the disease to fucking how many hundreds of people just through that one person because they don't have sick leave and they can't afford to not keep the fucking lights on in their house. So like there's going to be a lot of situations like that in America. So I think even you said, Peter, earlier, or like when we were talking earlier, that Bernie's been kind of leaning into this whole coronavirus thing.
Bernie sees the opportunity. I was worried he wasn't gonna.
I'm very glad.
Because he's a very consistent individual in messaging.
Yes.
Exactly.
But he's really been saying some interesting stuff lately. Like he said, for instance, just today,
Yes.
possibly yesterday, I don't really know. It was very, very recent. He said, we're only as safe as the least insured person in America, which there are 30 million people without insurance in America.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's just like bluntly to say that under Joe Biden, more people would die in this sort of situation. Like, that's just a fact.
It's
the same
true,
thing
too.
in
Like,
in the UK.
We need the public good of healthcare in order to fight anything that is pandemic level. Even if it's not a disease that we're really actually worried about killing off the entire population, just to be able to prevent the spread of it so that we aren't killing the segment of the population it affects most, we need universal healthcare. We can't do it without that type of a thing in place. It's got to be available for everybody, or it doesn't happen. Like, we end up with a bunch of people in the world who do not have the ability to seek healthcare, who can either get sick or carry something and infect other people with it, and it might hit somebody who's actually much more vulnerable to it.
Yeah.
But we don't think that way in America.
Not even just healthcare, the other side of it as well, of workers' rights and having the ability to take that time off and knowing that you're even not going to lose your job.
Not at will employment in the U.S. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right to work.
One thing that I'm covering in my video, I'm doing a video on coronavirus, is that in the US, suddenly, like, all of these things that would be considered commie stuff is being temporarily put into place. Like, for example, there's in certain states there's going to be a ban on evictions.
Yeah.
There's going to be there's a lot of people who have been like who are disabled and have found that now suddenly their jobs are like, oh yeah, you can totally work remotely from home.
Yeah.
Like all of these things are happening because of this virus. Like all of these people are suddenly realizing that things aren't fair, but what they don't understand is that it's always been this way. Just because there's a disease out there,
the disease isn't what made it unfair.
Not only just that, but like Italy have basically completely frozen mortgage repayments and stuff, and you're just like, well, holy shit, dude.
But how are we gonna pay for that?
Yeah, there's absolutely no question about it at all.
This reminds me of the time when there was a power cut in boarding school, and we had very strict, very mean house mistresses that were like really horrible to us throughout most of the year. But whenever there was a power cut, we got to see their human, less authoritarian side once in a while. So it just kind of shows you, that like disaster can sometimes bring out a glimpse of like how things can be. There was also this like
the inner socialist.
Yeah, the inner socialist. There was also this thing I read about like this time where there was a power cut in New York City, and it was during this time. It was like an account written by a woman who lived on like the white side of Central Park, and then across the other side was like the black side of Central Park, and how when the power cut happened, these two communities that seldom interact with each other came together and were helping each other out, and it was like a break to the alienation. Like all the young men who would usually be out on the street corner, all the housewives as well who were like inside taking Vicodin and like Ativan to cope with their sad lives. We're like out actually doing stuff, like helping each other, like there's like this whole essence of community that like arose simply because this like power cut happened.